Now, despite intervention from government in the recently announced short-term tourism relief fund, the sector is in dire need of more urgent help. Tourism for the past year has suffered significantly as a result of the global coronavirus pandemic, which halted worldwide travel. Even domestic tourism has taken a beating from this. The threat of further waves and subsequent lockdowns in the absence of widespread vaccinations will further hamper the sector. This is why it was nobody's surprise that the Minister of Finance reaffirmed the government's commitment by reprioritizing 540 million rand over the medium term to establish the Tourism Equity Fund. Joining us is Kylene Weyers. She's a Senior Associate on Dispute Resolution from Cliffe Dekker, Hofmeyr. Good to have you with us this evening, Kylene. But perhaps let's start with the number crunching here. If we look at the Tourism Equity Fund, the reprioritizing of 550 million rand, now based on reports that were from the Plettenberg Bay, they're saying that their hospitality industry over a period of 3 months, which is October, November and December of last year, 2020, that they estimate that they've lost over 674 million rand. Now juxtapose that figure to the 540 million rand that the finance minister is talking about. This looks like a minuscule figure that can hardly tackle the widespread problems that are being faced by the industry at large. Your reaction?
Yes, absolutely. And in addition to that unfortunately this relief may have come a little too late. In January this year, the Tourism Department announced the creation of this Tourism Equity Fund, which aims to support small stakeholders in the industry. And, to that end, government, together with SA's major banks, financed the fund with 1.2 billion. But like you say, it is actually just a drop in the ocean. But just to take it back, I just want to take a number crunch and go through this timeline that the industry has gone through, just to give you the full picture of the knocks that the industry has taken. So, the current reality is that most businesses in the tourism and hospitality industry are suffering a severe financial distress. And in addition to this, the reality is that they've been suffering this financial distress for the past year. So the decline in the industry first started at the beginning of 2020 with the uncertainty surrounding travel, and obviously in light of this fast-growing virus that we knew very little about at the time. Then we went into an extremely hard lockdown where SA's tourism industry lost almost 70 billion rand just in those few months. And in the months that followed the hard lockdown, we were in some sort of a lockdown with various severe restrictions in place, limiting our movement as a whole. And of course, most other countries had also implemented lockdowns with severe restrictions. So, the tourism industry optimistically weathered this COVID-19 storm in 2020, and we're living in the hope that by December, travel would be on the rise for the festive season. Everyone's finally going on holiday after a tough year, and that the effects of COVID on travel and movement of people would have dwindled. And as we all saw, this was absolutely not the case. So here comes December, and with the rising COVID numbers, Cyril Ramaphosa announces that all beaches will be closed. And so thereafter, many people cancelled their December holidays entirely, because who wants to go to a beach holiday if you can't go to the beach? And then towards the end of December, we went back into a lockdown level 3, and Cyril then announced the ban on liquor. And then to make matters worse, due to this new COVID variant, which was first identified in South Africa, many other countries have banned travel to and from South Africa. So essentially, the uptake which the tourism industry expected to have experienced in December just did not materialize. And unfortunately, once again, I think the industry is living in the hope that possibly for Easter holidays, we'll see some sort of relief with people being able to go on holiday. However, we're dealing with these looming rumors of a potential third wave and a possible lockdown during the Easter period. And of course, the question then is, how far do these businesses kick the can down the road? Urgent action needs to be taken. And unfortunately, this this fund is not going to be the thing that saves businesses in this industry, especially because there's a certain criteria that needs to be achieved before businesses can actually benefit from this fund.
What's quite clear, Kylene, is that there needs to be a short-term and a long-term strategy approach to the rescue of the industry. Let's chat about that in just a moment. And if you could perhaps just wrap your brain around what a business rescue plan for the industry as a whole could look like. You mentioned there the potential of another lockdown, during the Easter period. That is usually a time when people do take their holidays, the children are out of school, they usually take their vacations. But this may not be the case this year once again, because in as much as it is a holiday period, it's also a potential super spreader period where people gather for their religious gatherings and their religious meetings. And seeing that the COVID-19 vaccine hasn't quite rolled out to the greater population, this will still be a threat for South Africa.